The maintenance warning klaxon had been screaming for 17 consecutive hours, a mechanical banshee that would have driven lesser crews to madness. But for the 6 occupants of the UVNSF Pathfinder 7, it was just another background noise, as normal as breathing. Captain Maya Rodriguez adjusted the neural interface embedded behind her left ear, wincing slightly as the quantum adaptive circuitry recalibrated. The ship around her was less a vessel and more a living organism of metal, carbon composite, and impossible engineering. Every surface told a story of desperate innovation, of humanity's relentless drive to push beyond its limitations. "Status check," she commanded, her voice calm despite the ship's continuous tremors. Lieutenant Chen's augmented eyes flickered, holographic data streams dancing across his retinal implants. Primary quantum drive is at 63% stability. We got maybe 12 hours before we need a full recalibration, or we risk a cascade failure that could scatter our molecular structure across 3 light years. Most crews would have considered that a critical emergency. For the Pathfinder 7, it was Tuesday. Dr. Elena Okafor didn't even look up from her workstation. Her hands moved with surgical precision, rewiring a system that looked like it had been cobbled together from 3 different technological generations. "I can get us to 82% with some creative quantum entanglement," she muttered. "But we'll need to bleed off some excess thermal energy." The ship was a testament to humanity's most audacious quality, the ability to turn desperation into innovation. Where other species saw limitations, humans saw opportunities. The Pathfinder 7 embodied that philosophy in every welded joint and jury-rigged circuit. Lieutenant Amir Khan's voice cut through the background noise. "Correction Battle Group is entering long-range scanners. Composition: 3 heavy cruisers, 2 support vessels. Approximate combat configuration suggests a standard pacification protocol." Maya's lips curled into a predatory smile. "Right on schedule." The mission was elegant in its simplicity, and absolutely insane in its execution. They would present themselves as a vulnerable scout unit, a tempting target for the Caraxian fleet's notoriously aggressive forward units. But vulnerability, in this case, was entirely a matter of perspective. Every system on the Pathfinder 7 was a lie. The exposed reactor components, adaptive camouflage with quantum state manipulation capabilities, the seemingly random communication arrays, a comprehensive intelligence gathering network that could parse an entire civilization's technological infrastructure from a single engagement. Rachel Mbeek, the ship's communication specialist, was already preparing a series of deliberate vulnerabilities. Communication packets that would look like standard distress signals to the Caraxian sensors. Each one was a carefully constructed trap designed to trigger specific response protocols. "We're broadcasting on their expected interdiction frequencies," she reported. "Signal strength suggests we're a wounded, isolated reconnaissance unit." The final crew member, Dr. Marcus Way, monitored the ship's adaptive learning core, an artificial intelligence so advanced it was practically a living entity. "Ghost is cycling through potential engagement scenarios," he said. "Probability matrix suggests we have an 87.3% chance of achieving primary mission objectives." Maya knew the real number was closer to 97%, but she appreciated Marcus's commitment to maintaining a veneer of scientific conservatism. Outside the ship's protective shell, the vast emptiness of space waited. The Caraxian battle group was approaching, massive and confident. They saw a wounded scout. They would soon learn the difference between seeing and understanding. The Pathfinder 7 was not just a ship. It was humanity's message to the galaxy. "We are here. We are listening. And we are far more dangerous than you could ever imagine." The first plasma lance struck with the fury of a dying star. Lieutenant Chen's augmented reflexes were faster than any organic response. Before the weapon's energy signature had fully registered on conventional scanners, his hands were already dancing across the ship's adaptive control systems. The Pathfinder 7 wasn't just moving, it was transforming. "Incoming," he shouted, though the word was almost unnecessary. The ship's reactive nano-composite hull was already shifting, molecular structures realigning to disperse the incoming energy in millisecond-precise patterns. Captain Maya Rodriguez gripped her command interface, a neural link that was more living symbiosis than mere technological connection. To the Correction sensors, the Pathfinder 7 looked like it was performing a desperate, near-impossible evasive maneuver. In reality, it was conducting the most precise data-gathering operation in human history. "Alina," Maya called out, "start the quantum resonance sequence." Dr. Alina Okafor's fingers flew across her station, a symphony of impossible calculations happening faster than thought. The ship's quantum drive wasn't just a propulsion system. It was a comprehensive data collection matrix that could parse entire technological ecosystems from the most minute energy fluctuations. The second plasma strike came faster, more precise, a weapon that could vaporize most scout vessels in a microsecond. But the Pathfinder 7 was decidedly not most vessels. Thermal dissipation at 72%, Rachel Meek reported, her fingers simultaneously managing a complex web of communication frequencies. "We're bleeding off excess energy through the adaptive hull matrix. They won't even realize we're collecting their entire communication spectrum." Dr. Marcus Way watched the ship's adaptive learning core, an AI they called Ghost, process the incoming data. "Fascinating," he muttered. "The Correction weapon systems follow a very specific quantum signature. Each discharge is leaving an extraordinary amount of residual information." Lieutenant Amir Khan's specialized xenobiological sensor array was working overtime. "They're committing their secondary strike wing," he reported. "Typical hierarchical combat protocol. Each squadron is maintaining exactly 0.3 light seconds distance from their primary battle group. Predictably rigid." Maya's smile was predatory. Predictability was humanity's greatest weapon. The ship rolled, or appeared to roll. In reality, each movement was a carefully calculated data-gathering evolution. The nano-composite hull was recording energy signatures, shield harmonics, weapon discharge patterns. Every microsecond was a treasure trove of intelligence. "Ghost is extrapolating," Marcus announced. "We're not just collecting data. We're building a comprehensive predictive model of Correction military doctrine." Another plasma lance. Another seemingly impossible evasion. But this was no ordinary evasion. This was a dance, choreographed with mathematical precision. Each movement was a probe, each near miss a deliberate invitation for the Correction fleet to reveal more of its technological hand. "Quantum resonance sequence complete," Elena reported. "We've mapped their entire weapons synchronization protocol." Rachel's communication systems were a blur of activity. "I'm broadcasting specific quantum interference patterns. To them, it'll look like random noise. In reality, we're systematically dismantling their communication encryption." The Correction battle group continued its assault, growing increasingly frustrated. They were fighting what appeared to be a desperately outmatched scout unit. They had no idea they were being comprehensively analyzed, their entire technological ecosystem being dissected with each passing moment. The Pathfinder 7 was not running. It was hunting. The transformation happened at the quantum level, invisible to conventional sensors, imperceptible to anything but the most advanced detection systems. Dr. Alina Okafor watched the data streams with an almost religious intensity. What the Correction saw as a malfunctioning scout ship was actually a living, breathing intelligence machine that was rewriting the fundamental rules of technological engagement with each passing microsecond. "Ghost is evolving," she muttered, her fingers dancing across interfaces that seemed to blur the line between biological and mechanical input. The ship's adaptive learning core was more than an artificial intelligence. It was a collective consciousness that absorbed, analyzed, and transformed data faster than any known computational system in the galaxy. Lieutenant Amir Khan's xenobiological information systems were pushing the boundaries of what most scientists would consider possible. Each weapon discharge from the Correction fleet was more than an attack. It was a comprehensive data point that the Pathfinder 7 was systematically dismantling and understanding. "Quantum resonance mapping is complete," Amir reported. "We're not just collecting data. were decoding their entire technological paradigm. The ship's exterior was a marvel of deception. Reactive nanomaterials shifted and transformed with each incoming energy signature, creating a camouflage that was simultaneously defensive and offensive. What looked like random molecular instability was actually a precise method of information extraction. Rachel Mbeek's communication systems were a hurricane of calculated noise and precise signal. To the Correction sensors, it appeared as nothing more than the desperate communications of a failing scout unit. In reality, each transmission was a carefully constructed probe designed to extract specific pieces of technological and strategic information. Their shield harmonics follow a predictable quantum entanglement pattern, she announced. We're building a comprehensive decryption matrix that could potentially compromise their entire defensive infrastructure. Dr. Marcus Way monitored the adaptive learning core, the AI they called Ghost, with a mixture of scientific fascination and barely contained excitement. The rate of information absorption is exponential, he said. Ghost isn't just learning. It's rewriting its own fundamental operational parameters with each microsecond of engagement. Captain Maya Rodriguez understood the true nature of what was happening. This wasn't just a battle. It was a comprehensive technological vivisection. The Correction weapon systems were a marvel of their civilization's technological achievements. Plasma lances that could vaporize entire space stations. Shield systems that could deflect multiple simultaneous attacks. Quantum communication networks that were considered unbreakable. The Pathfinder 7 was systematically dismantling each of these systems, not through brute force, but through an unprecedented level of adaptive intelligence. Weapon discharge analysis complete, Lieutenant Chen reported, his augmented eyes flickering with data streams that would drive a normal human mind to madness. We've mapped their entire offensive capability down to the quantum signature of individual weapon systems. Elena's laugh was equal parts scientific triumph and predatory satisfaction. They have no idea, she said. Every attack is just giving us more information. We're not just surviving. We're consuming their entire technological ecosystem. The ship continued its impossible dance, appearing vulnerable, yet growing stronger with each passing moment. The Correction fleet was fighting what they believed was a simple scout unit. In reality, they were feeding information to an intelligence machine that was rapidly becoming something entirely unprecedented. Humanity had just rewritten the rules of technological warfare, and they were just getting started. The moment of transition was both instantaneous and eternal. Captain Maya Rodriguez felt the quantum disruptors activate through her neural interface, a sensation that was part electrical surge, part mathematical perfection. The Pathfinder 7 was no longer just a ship. It was a precision instrument of technological warfare that defied every known principle of combat. Quantum cascade initiating, Lieutenant Chen announced, his augmented eyes reflecting complex data streams that looked like living fractals. Targeting is unconventional. Unconventional is our specialty, Maya responded. The first quantum disruptor struck with surgical precision. It wasn't a weapon in any traditional sense. It was a mathematically perfect key designed to unlock the most fundamental vulnerabilities in the Correction technological ecosystem. Where conventional weapons would blast through shields, these disruptors did something far more insidious. They unraveled the very quantum foundations of the alien technology. Dr. Elena Okafor watched the system's analysis with a predatory grin. We're not destroying their technology, she explained to Dr. Marcus Way. We're fundamentally rewriting its operational parameters. Each strike is a language, a conversation with their most basic technological assumptions. The Correction battle group systems began to fail in ways that defied traditional understanding of technological warfare. Shield harmonics collapsed not in explosions, but in mathematically precise deconstructions. Communication networks didn't just go silent. They became incomprehensible, their very signal structure dismantled at the quantum level. Lieutenant Amir Khan's xenobiological information systems were working overtime. They're experiencing total systemic failure, he reported. But it's not destruction. It's dismantling. Like we're teaching their technology an entirely new way of existing. Rachel and Beek's communication systems were a symphony of calculated interference. Each transmission was simultaneously a weapon, a data collection mechanism, and a comprehensive intelligence probe. Their command structures are fragmenting, she announced. We're not just attacking their ships, we're unraveling their entire operational doctrine. The Pathfinder 7 wasn't just fighting, it was performing a technological vivisection. Ghost is extrapolating, Dr. Marcus Way reported, referring to the ship's adaptive learning core. We're building a comprehensive model of Caraxian technological thought. Every system failure is a data point, every shield collapse a paragraph in a new understanding of their civilization. Maya understood the true nature of what was happening. This was more than a battle. It was first contact redefined, a comprehensive exploration of an alien technological ecosystem through its most fundamental vulnerabilities. The quantum disruptors continued their impossible work. Systems that had taken millennia to develop were being systematically understood, decoded, and, in some cases, fundamentally reimagined. The Caraxian ships weren't just being disabled. They were being read, analyzed, their entire technological philosophy laid bare. Systemic analysis at 87%, Chen reported. We're approaching total technological comprehension. Alina's laugh was a mixture of scientific triumph and something darker, a predatory understanding of humanity's potential. They thought we were just another primitive species, she said. We're showing them that primitive is just a failure of imagination. As the last of the Caraxian ships began to drift, their systems not destroyed, but fundamentally transformed, the Pathfinder 7 continued its impossible dance. A scout unit that had become something far more significant. Humanity had just rewritten the rules of technological engagement. And they were just getting started. The data transmission began as a whisper, a quantum-encrypted message so complex it would take most civilizations centuries to even recognize it as communication. Rachel Mbeek's fingers moved with surgical precision, each gesture a carefully orchestrated mathematical symphony. What she was broadcasting wasn't just a message. It was a comprehensive psychological profile of the entire Caraxian military command structure, encoded in a language that was simultaneously mathematical, linguistic, and something entirely new. Transmission matrix is stabilizing, she reported, her voice calm despite the revolutionary nature of what was happening. We're not just sending information, we're rewriting their fundamental understanding of communication. Captain Maya Rodriguez watched the holographic displays with a predatory intensity. The Pathfinder 7 had moved beyond being a simple scout ship or even a combat vessel. It was now a living, breathing instrument of comprehensive intelligence warfare. Lieutenant Amir Khan's xenobiological information systems were parsing the transmitted data in real time. The psychological profile is multilayered, he announced. We're not just revealing their command structure. We're exposing the fundamental cognitive patterns that drive their entire civilization's decision-making process. Dr. Elena Okafor leaned in, fascinated. Look at the recursive communication patterns, she muttered to Dr. Marcus Way. We're creating a form of communication that doesn't just transmit information. It forces the recipient to fundamentally reconsider their entire conceptual framework. The transmission was a masterpiece of technological and psychological warfare. Each quantum-encrypted packet was simultaneously a comprehensive intelligence report, a psychological profile, a demonstration of technological superiority, a challenge to the Caraxian understanding of communication itself. Lieutenant Chen's augmented systems were tracking the transmission's impact in real time. Their communication networks are fragmenting, he reported. But it's more than just a technical breakdown. It's a cognitive disruption. Dr. Marcus Way monitored the ship's adaptive learning core, Ghost, with an almost parental pride. We're not just gathering intelligence, he explained. We're demonstrating a form of communication that transcends their entire technological and psychological understanding. The broadcast continued, a relentless wave of information that was simultaneously a weapon, a message, and a comprehensive exploration of an alien civilization's most fundamental thought processes. Multiple alien civilizations are intercepting the transmission, Rachel reported. They're not just receiving our message. They're being forced to reconsider their entire understanding of first contact. Maya understood the true significance of what was happening. This was more than a military operation. It was a fundamental reimagining of interstellar communication. The quantum encrypted message continued its impossible journey, a complex tapestry of information that was simultaneously a psychological profile, a technological demonstration, and a challenge to every established galactic communication protocol. Transmission complete, Rachel announced. Impact analysis suggests we fundamentally altered the galactic understanding of human capabilities. Alina's laugh was a mixture of scientific triumph and something darker, a recognition of the profound moment they were creating. They thought we were just another primitive species, she said. We're showing them that communication is an art form we've only just begun to explore. As the transmission faded, leaving behind a quantum-encrypted echo that would be analyzed for generations, the Pathfinder 7 continued its impossible journey. Humanity had just rewritten the rules of interstellar communication, and they were just getting started. The first transmission came from the Vex Confederacy, a sprawling network of technologically advanced civilizations that had dominated galactic politics for millennia. Their communication protocols were legendary, their intelligence networks considered impenetrable. The message was a mixture of confusion, terror, and grudging respect. "We intercepted your transmission," the encrypted message read. "What manner of species are you?" Lieutenant Rachel Mbeek's fingers danced across the communication interface, her neural implants processing the message faster than any organic brain could comprehend. "They're trying to understand," she reported to Captain Maya Rodriguez, "but they're approaching it like scientists examining a completely unknown phenomenon." Dr. Marcus Way monitored the ship's adaptive learning core, Ghost, as it began parsing the incoming communications. "Multiple civilizations are now aware of us," he said. "We've become more than just another species. We're a complete paradigm shift." The Pathfinder 7 had done more than survive an encounter with the Caraxian fleet. It had fundamentally altered the galactic understanding of humanity's potential. Dr. Elena Okafor was fascinated by the incoming data streams. "Look at how they're processing our transmission," she told Lieutenant Amir Khan. "It's not just information gathering. They're having to completely reconstruct their understanding of communication, technology, and intelligence." Lieutenant Chen's augmented systems were tracking the cascading communication networks. "We're seeing a complete breakdown of existing galactic information hierarchies," he reported. "Our single transmission has created more disruption than entire wars." The ship's mission had transformed from a simple reconnaissance operation into something far more significant. Each incoming message was a testament to the profound impact of their encounter. The Zorn Collective, a silicon-based civilization known for their computational supremacy, sent their own encrypted response. Their message was a mixture of scientific curiosity and barely contained panic. "Your transmission suggests capabilities that should be impossible," their message read. "We require further clarification." Maya understood the true significance of what was happening. This was more than first contact. This was a fundamental challenge to the existing galactic order. "Ghost is analyzing the collective response," Dr. Marcus Way reported. "We're not just being observed. We're forcing multiple civilizations to simultaneously reevaluate their understanding of technological potential." The ripple effects continued to spread. Communication networks that had been stable for centuries began to fragment and reconfigure. Existing power structures found themselves suddenly obsolete, forced to confront a species that had demonstrated capabilities beyond their comprehension. Rachel's communication systems were a complex web of incoming and outgoing transmissions. "We're seeing secondary and tertiary communication waves," she announced. "Civilizations are sharing our transmission, analyzing it, arguing about its implications." Alina's laugh was a mixture of scientific triumph and something darker, a recognition of the profound moment they were creating. They thought humanity was just another primitive species, she said. We're showing them that potential is just a matter of perspective. The Pathfinder 7 continued its journey, leaving behind a wake of confusion, terror, and reluctant admiration. A single ship had done what entire fleets and diplomatic missions have failed to do for millennia. Humanity had just rewritten the rules of galactic engagement, and they were just getting started. Earth's military command center was a maelstrom of activity unlike anything in human history. Holographic displays cascaded with incoming data from the Pathfinder 7's mission, each transmission a quantum-encrypted masterpiece that rewrote the fundamental understanding of interstellar engagement. General Alexandra Reyes stood at the center of the storm, her cybernetic interface pulsing with real-time information gathering from every major human research facility. They're preparing a response, she muttered, watching the alien communication networks fragment and reconfigure in real time. And we need to be 10 steps ahead. The Pathfinder 7's mission had been more than a simple reconnaissance operation. It was a calculated risk that had transformed humanity's position in the galactic hierarchy overnight. Dr. Hiroshi Nakamura, head of the Xenotechnology Research Division, was already assembling teams to analyze the incoming data. Look at these communication patterns, he told his lead researchers. We're not just collecting intelligence. We're fundamentally understanding the psychological and technological infrastructure of multiple alien civilizations. Each research team was a precision instrument of human innovation. Quantum physicists worked alongside xenolinguists. Cybernetic engineers collaborated with cultural anthropologists. The mission of the Pathfinder 7 had created an unprecedented opportunity for comprehensive galactic understanding. Ghost's data transmission is still propagating, reported Dr. Elena Chen, no relation to the ship's lieutenant. We're seeing exponential information spread across multiple communication networks. The aliens aren't just receiving our transmission. They're being forced to completely reconfigure their understanding of technological potential. The strategic implications were profound. Humanity had transformed from a seemingly primitive species to a complete unknown, a civilization that could not be categorized, predicted, or easily understood. General Reyes understood the delicate balance they were creating. This isn't about conquest, she told her senior staff. This is about establishing a new paradigm of interstellar engagement. We're not just showing our capabilities. We're challenging the entire concept of first contact. Military strategists worked alongside diplomatic experts, creating response scenarios that were part scientific exploration, part psychological warfare. The Pathfinder 7 had opened a door that could never be closed. Multiple civilizations are attempting to initiate contact, reported the communication specialist. But they're approaching us like researchers approaching an entirely unknown phenomenon. Dr. Marcus Way's preliminary analysis was stark. We've created a complete information cascade, he explained. Our transmission has introduced a level of complexity that existing galactic communication networks simply cannot process effectively. The preparation was meticulous. Every potential response scenario was analyzed, every possible communication pathway explored. The human teams worked with a combination of scientific precision and creative unpredictability that would become their trademark. We're not preparing for war, General Reyes emphasized. We're preparing for a conversation that will reshape galactic understanding. The Pathfinder 7's mission had become something far more significant than its original reconnaissance objectives. It was a declaration, a challenge, and an invitation, all wrapped in a quantum-encrypted package that defied conventional understanding. As the research teams continued their work, one thing became abundantly clear. Humanity had just introduced itself to the galaxy in a way no one could have anticipated, and they were just getting started. The Galactic Convergence Chamber fell silent as the final transmission from the Pathfinder 7 was played. Representatives from 17 different civilizations sat frozen, their collective technological and diplomatic assumptions crumbling in real time. Ambassador Zara Kalin of the Vex Confederacy was the first to speak. Her translucent exoskeleton flickered with barely contained emotion, something between terror, respect, and a dawning understanding that everything had changed. "This is not first contact," she stated, her voice resonating through multiple translation matrices. "This is a complete restructuring of galactic comprehension." The transmission was more than a simple communication. It was a comprehensive deconstruction of existing interstellar power structures, a quantum-encrypted message that simultaneously revealed humanity's capabilities and challenged every established galactic protocol. Dr. Elena Okafor, watching from Earth's primary communication center, allowed herself a tight smile. The Pathfinder 7 had done more than survive an encounter with the Coraxian fleet. It had fundamentally rewritten the rules of interstellar engagement. Lieutenant Rachel Meek's quantum communication systems continued to parse the ongoing responses. "They're struggling to categorize us," she reported to Captain Maya Rodriguez. "We've become an entirely new paradigm of spacefaring civilization." The representatives continued to debate, their arguments cascading through multiple linguistic and technological barriers. The Zorn Collective's silicon-based delegates argued for immediate comprehensive study. The telepathic harmonies of the quantum concordance saw the transmission as a form of advanced communication beyond their previous understanding. "They approached us as a primitive species," Dr. Marcus Wee observed, monitoring the ongoing discussions. "Now they're treating us like an entirely new form of intelligence." The Pathfinder 7's mission had transformed from a simple reconnaissance operation into a fundamental challenge to galactic assumptions. Each civilization was forced to reconsider their understanding of technological potential, communication, and the very nature of intelligence. Lieutenant Chen's augmented systems tracked the cascading communication networks. "We're seeing a complete breakdown of existing information hierarchies," he reported. "A single transmission has created more disruption than entire centuries of diplomatic negotiations." Ambassador Klin's voice cut through the chamber. "We cannot ignore the implications," she stated. "This human vessel has demonstrated capabilities that challenge our fundamental understanding of technological progression." The transmission itself was a masterpiece of multilayered communication. It was simultaneously a comprehensive intelligence report, a psychological profile of multiple civilizations, a demonstration of technological capabilities, a challenge to existing galactic power structures. Captain Maya Rodriguez understood the true significance of what had happened. This was more than first contact. This was a fundamental reimagining of humanity's place in the universe. "We're not just another species," she had told her crew before the mission. "We're a completely new approach to existence." As the Galactic Convergence Chamber continued its debates, one thing became abundantly clear. Humanity had introduced itself to the galaxy in a way no one could have anticipated. The Pathfinder 7 was more than a ship. It was a declaration of potential, a challenge to established understanding, and an invitation to a new way of thinking. The universe would never be the same, and they were just getting started.